1, Sociability Electrical 1A. The chosen topic I'm going to discuss is data management. They have 6 contents of data management. Number 1 is basic concept in statistics. 2, measure of central tendency. 3, measure of dispersion. And 4, measure of relative position. 5, normal distribution. And the last one, linear regression and correlation. Okay, let's start. The data management is a process by which information is acquired and processed to ensure the accessibility and reliability of the data for its user. One of the most important tools in processing and managing such information is statistics. The data management is usually used in education, research, business, agriculture, and other fields, and even in our everyday life activities. Data are the piece of information may be collected by conducting a survey, interview, observation, and experiment. The data gathered can be properly. Statistics is a science which deals with the collection, organization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data so as to give a more meaningful information. Statistics is organized and presented graphically by a line graph, bar graph, or pictograph, or with the aid of a statistic table known as frequency distribution table. Statistic refers to the collection, organization, summary, and presentation of the data, while inferential statistic deals with the interpretation and analysis of data, while conclusion is drawn based from the subset of the population. In descriptive statistics, a set of data is simply described with drawing any inference of implication. Basic terms. 1. Population. A collection or set of things or objects under consideration. Sample is a subset or representative group of the population. Data refers to the information gathered in a research. There are 2 data, primary data and secondary data. Primary data is information gathered from respondent by the researcher himself. The secondary data is information obtained from publisher materials or data gathered by other individual or agency. These are the data which are transcribed from original source. Next, array. Listening of observation which are arranged in an increasing and decreasing magnitude. Parameter, a value which is computed from a population, and statistic, a value which is computed from a sample. Variable, a characteristic of interest that has been observed or measured on every member of the population or sample. There are 2 variables, quantitative numerical variable and qualitative categorical variable. Quantitative numerical variable describes the amount of number of an element of a sample or population. Discrete and continuous. Discrete takes on a countable amount. It is usually expressed as whole number. And continuous, measured in a continuous scale, it takes any value within a range or interval. Qualitative categorical variable describes the quality, category, or character of an element of a population or sample. Next, measure of central tendency. One way of summarizing the data is to figure out the data set by using the descriptive measure. A measure of central tendency is a single value that used to identify the center of the data set or set of observation. There are 3 measures of central tendency: the mean, median, and mode. The mean, also known as the arithmetic average, is the sum of all the observed value divided by the number of observations in the data set. It can be computed as U equals Ni equals 1 Xi over N, where Xi is the first or second, third observation, N is the number of observation in the data set. Where the mean is the most familiar measure of the center, the mean of the population is symbolized by the lowercase letter mu in Greek alphabet U, while the mean of the sample is represented by x bar. Next, the median is a single value which divides an array of observation into two equal parts such that 50% of the observation falls above it and the remaining 50% falls below it. It may be written symbolic by x read as x tilde. The mean of the dataset consists of an odd number observation is the middlemost value in the list. The x equals xn plus 1 over 2, wherein is the number of observation. If n is even, the median is the average of two middlemost value. It can be computed as x equals m1 plus m2 divided by 2, where m1 and m2 are the two middlemost value. Take note that the observations are first arranged in array from lowest to highest before getting the median value. Mode. The mode is an observation that occurs most frequently in the given data set. Next, measure of dispersion. In some cases, describing the data using the measure of central tendency alone is not enough to provide a sufficient information concerning a population or sample. A measure of dispersion is a quantity that measures the spread or variability of the values in a given set of data. The most commonly used measure of dispersion are the range, variance, and standard deviation. The simplest measure and easiest to compute, but a rough estimate for the measure of dispersion is the range. The standard deviation is the positive square root of the variance. The variance is the average of the square root deviation of every observation from the mean. The standard deviation and variance can be obtained from a population and a sample, but most in application utilize the sample rather than the population due to the complete enumeration.
defined as regular, repeated, recurring forms of design. We have different natural patterns found in nature. These patterns are rational, symmetry, fractals, spiral patterns, lingers, and wave patterns. For example, the concept of Fibonacci is from Leonardo of Pisa. Fibonacci is the greatest European mathematician of the Middle Age. Born in 1170 and died in 1240. He introduced the Arabic number system in Europe. Fibonacci sequence was discovered after an investigation on the reproduction of rabbits. We can see Fibonacci sequence in nature. For example, are the seeds on the sunflowers as shown in the picture. Mathematics helps organize patterns and regularities in the world. A lot of events happen around us in the blink of an eye. Several children have already been born, liters of water have been consumed, or thousands of tweets have been posted. For us to make sense of all available information, we need mathematical tools to help us make sound analysis and better decisions. Mathematics has helped organize patterns and consistency in the world because one must know that there is always mathematics in almost everything in this world. Mathematics helps predict the behavior of nature and phenomena in the world. It is sometimes said that history repeats itself as much as we can use mathematical models using existing data to generate analysis and interpretation. We can also use them to make predictions. Applying the concept of probability, experts can calculate the chance of an event occurring. The weather is a prime example. Astronomers also use patterns to predict the appearance of meteor shower or eclipses. Mathematics helps control nature and occurrences in the world for our own ends. We have demonstrated by means of example around us that patterns are definitely present in the universe. There seems to be an underlying mathematical structure in the way that natural objects and phenomena behave. For example, in 1916, Albert Einstein hypothesized the existence of gravitational waves based on his theory of general relativity. This is when dipoles are formed in the fabric of space-time due to large and violent cosmic events. Very much like when a cable is thrown out as stagnant pond. About 100 years later, the laser interferometer gravitational we have observed.
Good day everyone. This time I'm going to explain to you a topic on mathematical expression, and mathematical sentence. In this lesson, I'm going to give the definition of each term and give the difference between these terms. So to start with, let's compare first what is an expression in sentence in two major disciplines, which are the English and mathematics. So in English, when you say noun, it talks about the name of a person, place, or thing. The corresponding idea of noun in mathematics is the so-called expression. So both noun and expressions uh, don't have the complete thought or idea. It's simply a name of an object of interest, or name of a person, place, or things in English, and numbers or combination of numbers using the operation in mathematics. We have also sentence both in English and mathematics. This sentence has a complete thought or idea. So these are the examples of sentences in English, and we have here examples for sentences in mathematics. So in this case, we will focus only on the mathematical definition of each term. So we have here expression or mathematical expression is a finite combination of symbols. When you say symbols, numbers and letters, that is well formed according to the rules that depend on the context. So finite, when you say finite, there's a limitation or meron siyang hangganan. Combination of symbols, so numbers and letters in algebra, tinatawag natin itong constant and variable. So with the use of the different rules, pag sinabing rules, including na rito yung mga operations. We have also mathematical sentence. When you say mathematical sentence, it is an expression that has a complete idea or thought. So complete idea and thought. Mathematical sentence can be true or false. So pwedeng maging true yung mathematical sentence or magiging false yung mathematical sentence. So to better understand the two ideas, let's try this example. Determine whether the following is an expression or a sentence, or mathematical expression or a mathematical sentence. Here, number 1, 13. 13, that is an expression. Okay. Number 2, we have 10 plus 2x, that is an expression. Number 3, we have quantity of m plus 1 minus 20 is equal, minus 20, that is an expression. Number 4 and number 5 and then through number 6, yan po ay mga example ng sentence or mga sentences sila. Okay, as you can observe, ang isang palatandaan na sentence siya is the equal sign, or not only the equal sign but we have also the inequality, which are the greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to.